let's talk DC games. As you guys know, DC's games have been like treacherous these past couple of years. Their slate is horrible. You know, we had Gotham Knights, we had Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. We've had a couple of DC games in these past couple of years, and they've been pretty horrible. Not gonna lie. DC games is just in shambles. Marvel's cooking them. We got Marvel Cosmic Invasion that just dropped. You got Tokon Souls, Rivals. It's just not looking good for DC, right? So, as a DC fan, I still love Marvel, by the way, but as a DC fan, I wanted to pitch some DC games because, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, so I feel like I have a pretty decent idea of like every, video game genre and things like that. So I'm just gonna kind of discuss, what my pitch for certain DC games would be, right? Now, first things first, I do want to pour one out for my dog Wonder Woman. Man, I can't believe Warner Brothers canceled this shit. The Wonder Woman game. Did I say Wonder Woman the first time or did I say Warner Bros? Oh well, but listen, the Wonder Woman game, Jesus Christ, would have fed families, man. Wonder Woman fans, I'm with y'all. And we can't forgive Warner Brothers for doing this. They need to be burned down. Burn down the headquarters. Nah, I'm trolling. But, yeah, man. Rip Wonder Woman. 2022 to 2025, I guess. But, yeah, so when it comes to my first pitch for a DC game would be a question game. And I would want this game to be kind of like a Wolf Among Us Telltale style game, or they could do Dispatch as well. One of those two I think would be fine. Obviously, because the question is literally, like a detective, right? So that those types of games are perfect for detective stories. Also, the question isn't really, how do I say this? He's not like, Superman or anything like that. Like, people aren't going to be tripping if, I open a question game and I'm not really, beating people up. Like, but if we got a Superman game and it's just decision based, they'll be like, what the hell, man? Like, I want to beat people up as Superman. So, yeah. Now, me personally, I would want this game to adapt Dennis O'Neil's run personally. Because why not, bro? Like, who doesn't want to see comics get adapted into video games or movies? Like, come on, guys. It's 2025. We need to stop being afraid of comics. But and honestly, like, James Gunn, when he did first announce his DCU slate, he did mention something about, games possibly, tying into the DCU. And honestly, we are supposed to get a mystery aspect of Lantern. So, I mean, we could see, like, this game tie into the mystery from Lanterns, that is supposed, yeah, because the Lantern's mystery is supposed to span the DCU, so we could see the question kind of investigating, that mystery or the aftermath of what goes on in, Lanterns. Maybe he, like, finds out about salvation and he's, like, trying to find out, how to get there or what went down to, like, how they found salvation. Just trying to discuss the whereabouts or what salvation is, right? Just something like that if they wanted to tie it into the DCU. But this would be my first game. Like I said, as for what studio I'd have do it, it would probably be, Ad Hoc, which did Dispatch, or Telltale, although Telltale has been on ice, man. The Wolf Among Us 2, it doesn't look like it's dropping soon, so I would hope that Ad Hoc would make the game. But Ad Hoc obviously is doing their Critical Role game, and they're probably gonna do Dispatch too after that. So I doubt this would happen. I guess Telltale would be the better option, but I just wanted to leave that out there. There's also Square Enix. They do the Life is Strange game, so they could do the question game. But yeah, now my next game on this list, give me an action adventure Green Lantern game. Actually, yeah, give me an action adventure Green Lantern game. I want this game to be like Final Fantasy 16, Devil May Cry 5. Like, I need this game to go crazy. I think you could do a skill tree, and essentially with the skill tree, what we get is we unlock more constructs. Now, the only, like, main thing that I think would be hard when it comes to making this game would be the constructs, of course, because the Green Lanterns have a lot of constructs, so it is kind of like, how are we going to get all these into, one game? But I do think, just having the constructs be locked to, skill trees or leveling up. Now, obviously, they'd have to have, like, a pretty big variety of constructs. Also, in this game, I would have us playing as all of the Lanterns. I want Kilowog, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Jessica Cruz, Simon Bass, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, all of them. I want you to be able to play as at least the main ones, right? Um, and I would honestly want this game to adapt to Sinestro Core War. That way you can do DLC. We could have Superman, pop up in Superboy Prime, is in the game. Just Cyborg Superman, characters like that, just that's kind of like an easy way for them to ease in DLC. But yeah, really, like I really want them to take some inspiration from Final Fantasy 16's combat. Like the combat in that game, if you guys have seen it, it's pretty insane. Now, the only thing would be flight, of course, right? Because Final Fantasy 16, you're walking, So it would be kind of interesting to see how they would be able to translate like that type of game into, then flying. So I think that would be interesting. But yeah, the Sinestro Core War would be what I would want to adapt. I guess if they were going to do another storyline, like I wouldn't mind seeing them do like, if they were going to do like a smaller game, like I think Secret Origin would be cool. And that would easily, if that game was successful, that would easily, lead into them being able to make a sequel game. Yeah, those are the main two. Like if they did Secret Origin or the Sinestro Core War, I think that would be amazing. They could do something original as well. I would never get angry at that. More Green Lantern is always what we want to see. And then I would not want this game to tie into the DCU at all because, obviously, I mean, if anybody has seen my previous videos, I hate that Hal Jordan is 60 years old, and I definitely don't want to play a game where Hal Jordan is 60, so yeah. But that's my pitch for the Green Lantern game. It would be made by Square Enix, obviously, because they made the, Final Fantasy 16 game. And then the next game that I have already made a video on this. Go ahead and support DCKO. Now, I'm not going to go too into detail with this game because I already yapped about it in my previous video. But as for the DCKO game, I think this should just straight up replace Injustice 3. And I think, honestly, like, to be honest with you guys, I think that this game should be similar to Tekken, but not Tekken. Like, it should be like Tekken and... No, it should be like Sparking Zero, actually. I think, you get all of the characters. Like, we should be able to use, Superboy, Superman. And then we could use, like, Superman 1 million, like, there's just... Like, I feel like we should be able to use every interpretation of every character, like in Sparking Zero. Jason Todd, when he was a Jit. Jason Todd, currently... Jason Todd with his, original suit. Well, Red Hood with his original suit. Batman with the all of his suits. Like, I think there should be multiple variations of every character, right? Now, once again, I know this is kind of short, but I already made a video on it. But I had to mention it here because, who knows? Somebody might ask, like, why not? Why didn't you say anything about DCKO, man? Like, but yeah, DCKO game for sure. And then next up, I want a turn-based game, guys. Now, I know, when you think of a superhero game, it's turn-based? Like, why would you want a turn-based game? But hear me out, guys. Hear me out, okay? I want a turn-based JSA title adapting John's entire run. Now, listen, if there was ever going to be a team or, I guess, superhero that was going to have a longer, 70 to 100-hour game, length game, I think the JSA is perfect. There are multiple members on that team, so you can do, you can have the job system, the party system, all of that. The worlds, I mean, not the worlds, but the environments and the settings that the JSA, the Justice Society of America, encounter are huge, vast. This is something that could easily be done into a turn-based JRPG. And then not only that, like, I mean, once again, the team is just so huge. Like, there's so many characters you can add to the party, take out of the party. Now, as far as who I'd want to make this game, RGG, I forget. Is it just RGG Studios? I don't think so. But the people that make the Yakuza games, Like a Dragon, those types of games, I would want them to make this game because they have been pushing the boundaries of turn-based JRPGs. Also, Hey, listen, they know how to cook. They're taking inspiration from Dragon Quest with their Yakuza games. So I think this would be perfect for them to kind of just do something new, I think the JSA, once again, it's just such a big and vast team. Like, I think this is the perfect thing to do if you're going to make, like, a longer superhero game. This is the perfect team to pick. And yeah, as far as who made it, obviously RGG. And then yeah, I said it was gonna adapt John's Run. So yeah, personally, this is probably like the one that I want to see the most. Even more than Green Lantern, even though Green Lantern's my goat. But just thinking about having a turn-based, RPG style game, that just kind of gets me excited, man. Now let's talk some honorable mentions, right? I would love to see a Flash game similar to Sonic Unleashed or Sonic Generations. Obviously, Flash is kind of a weird character because, I mean, he's fast, and then it's like, even like the reason why this is an honorable mention is because like I do want it to be similar to Generations and Unleashed, but those games don't really have like fleshed out combat. I mean, it's Sonic, right? But those games don't really have like fleshed out combat systems, and obviously, if we're playing a superhero game, I don't want to just be running into enemies and that be, that's it, right? I want to do a bit more. So that's kind of why this is an honorable mention, just because I'm not sure how they'd get it done. Personally, my mind is too restricted, guys. I'm not thinking. I'm a dummy. And then as for what I would want this game to adapt, quote unquote, would be just a rebirth story. I'd imagine this game wouldn't be long. I don't want it to be done by Sega, but yeah, adapt the Flash Rebirth. I think this would be the perfect game as well to get newcomers into because, Rebirth is a pretty newcomer-friendly story. And then another game that I would want to see, this is also an honorable mention simply because I haven't read enough on these teams. I know I'm a fraud, guys, but pretty much I think I would love to see like a turn-based Teen Titans or Young Justice type of game. I just think, to be honest, like I said with JSA, like the teams are just so vast. Like they're essentially a family, right? So I think it would be nice just kind of having to swap, certain people out of your team and things like that. I honestly wouldn't mind this game being similar to like a Final Fantasy like 8, not combat wise, but kind of like how in the story, I guess it's not only a Final Fantasy 8 thing, but how like in the story you can only use certain party members. Like I think that would be cool. Like what if you're playing, Teen Titans and Nightwing, he just like, this is Nightwing right after, he left Batman. So you have to have him on your party, right? Because he is, he's not with Batman anymore. And then also I think it would be cool if, like, well, technically he was still Robin when he left Batman, but yeah, we're not gonna focus on that. And then how about like when he becomes Nightwing? Like it would be cool if like he's away from the game for like a short period of time because he's dealing with his own stuff in Bloodhaven. It's just little things like that that I think would be cool. I would want the game to be made again by Square Enix. I think they kind of have the turn-based shit like on lock. So I think yeah. And then as for what I would want them to adapt, pretty much, to be honest, like the Titans, like they don't really have any good modern stuff. So pretty much all of the older stuff. Same with the Young Justice. You could do Peter David's run, which I think would make the most sense. And yeah, that is my pitch. And then there is one last game on here that I think pretty much everybody expected to be on here, and that is a Superman action adventure title. The character is so popular. I mean, I don't know how Superman doesn't have like as much doesn't have too many video games already, to be honest. Like I think my guy has the 64 title, and I think that's it, which is like kind of insane. But yeah, I think a Superman action adventure title, I don't know why we haven't gotten one. I mean, during the PS3 or the PS4 era, even the PS2 era, I'm not sure like what was stopping them, but I think this is like, I mean, what's really stopping them from doing it? Superman just released, that character's on a lot of people's mind. I think it's just easy money for them. Now, as far as what I would want it to adapt, to kind of tie into Man of Tomorrow, I would want them to do, Superman Brainiac by Jeff Johns. They could do Secret Origins. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing them tackle an older story, though, if they don't want to tie into the DCU. Now, when it comes to a game like this, as for what I would want it to, like, be based on, as I said, action adventure, honestly, like, I wouldn't mind it being like Breath of the Wild, where it's like open world, it's this vast world, as opposed to Spider-Man. Not to say that Spider-Man is a small game, but more so just like, I don't know where I was going with that, but I would want it to be an open world game for sure, kind of like Breath of the Wild, like I said. Obviously, you would have to incorporate flight in some way. I would want the combat system to be more fleshed out, though. Something more akin to, I'm trying to think, something more akin to like a Final Fantasy X's, like Spear Grid. Something like that. I would want that to be in the game. And yeah, as for who I would want to make this game, that is an interesting thing. That was like the one thing I didn't think. Honestly, I could see a lot of people tackling this. Obviously, as I mentioned before, Square Enix, is definitely an option. CD Projekt Red also I would not mind seeing them tackle it. I think Capcom is also great, but I'm gonna go with CD Projekt Red. Now, I don't think they'd realistically make this game. They have too much like things that they're working on. But I mean, wishful thinking, and it's just pitches, right? It's not actually gonna happen. A predictions video would be way more different than this. But yeah, these are just kind of my pitches for what DC games I would want to see. I'm sorry if like I didn't have more games on here. To be honest, I kind of was just going through this like off the dome. Obviously, I have my notes, but I'm kind of trying to use my knowledge to take everything out. But yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what games you guys would like to see in. Let's hope that this drought of DC games ends. And once again, man, for all my Wonder Woman fans, I'm sorry. But peace out, y'all boys.